Welcome to Zoom In, Zoom Out. I'm Cadence Quaranta. Today we're discussing Taiwan's relations with its remaining allies in the Pacific, amid pressure from China and ongoing geopolitical competition in the region. We're now joined by the ambassadors of two of those diplomatic allies, Palau and the Marshall Islands. Ambassadors, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. It is a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.
Several Pacific Island nations have switched ties to China in recent years. I'm wondering, why is it important to your countries to maintain ties with Taiwan?
Well, Taiwan continues to be a trusted and reliable friend for the Republic of the Marshall Islands. We continue to share a long-standing relationship that is grounded in mutual trust, democratic values, and a commitment to improving the livelihoods of our people. Taiwan continues to be a vital development partner, supporting the Marshall Islands in areas such as healthcare, education, climate resilience, infrastructure, and we continue to commit to working closely with Taiwan to strengthen this relationship.
Very well said by my colleague. Exactly the same values that attract us with Taiwan. And it just gives you goosebumps to see the huge similarities of who we are and the people here in Taiwan. And that itself kind of an unspoken way of connecting. And so diplomatic ties are important because of people. And then after the people, then you look at the economic, the safeguard of your people. So the values that my colleague spoke about is really what a stone or step point to establish a diplomatic relation with the country of Taiwan.
We also talked to the ambassador from another diplomatic ally in the Pacific, Tuvalu, during the 2026 Pacific Cultural Gala, hearing why her country's ties to Taiwan are so important.
Tuvalu is a democratic country, so this diplomatic relationship with Taiwan, it's a reflection of how Tuvalu strongly maintains its diplomatic principles, its belief in democracy. We will stand in solidarity with Taiwan because of those shared democratic principles and other cultural values.
And then, I guess for Palau specifically, the president of Palau has talked several times about the pressure that Palau faces from China to switch ties. I'm wondering, can you talk a little bit about that pressure specifically that Palau has faced?
Of course, we face it on a daily basis and in all different ways. Sometimes, initially when the government of China basically announced to its citizens no tourism to Palau. But the citizens still find ways to come to Palau. So currently we still have Chinese as the most tourists to Palau next to Taiwan. But currently we have a drug problem in Palau. And we are just learning that it's coming in from the mainland China. And so it's every day we face challenges like this. But it will not make any difference in how we choose relationship with whatever country.
I also want to talk more broadly about the US and China have been increasingly kind of competing for influence in the Pacific region, leaving kind of Pacific Island nations like yours kind of in the middle. Can you talk about how do your countries deal with these two major powers, the Marshall Islands?
Well, the Marshall Islands, like all the other, like the Republic of Palau and all the other Pacific countries, are a sovereign nation. And while others may look at our countries and our region from a strategic lens, our focus has always been sustainable development and the well-being of our people. And our partnerships are based on mutual respect. And of course, our national priorities will always be foremost in how we engage with partners.
Does China threaten the stability of the Pacific region?
Any disruption in the Pacific is a cause for concern. The priorities of the region include ensuring that our region is healthy, secure, and prosperous. And there have been actions that are cause for concern. They erode at the principles of the Pacific Way, where there's open dialogue, transparency. But the Pacific leaders through the Pacific Island Forum have long been committed to securing our region, ensuring that the aspirations and the priorities of the region are foremost, and in our engagement with partners and the world.
I want to get into some specific questions about how your countries work with Taiwan and your bilateral relations with Taiwan. I want to start with Palau. You'll be hosting the Pacific Islands Forum this year. And we saw that last year the Solomon Islands excluded external partners from the forum, reportedly after pressure from China to exclude Taiwan. And then the year before, the forum removed references to Taiwan from a group communique after complaints from China. I'm wondering this year, how will Palau ensure Taiwan's equal participation and inclusion?
Difficult question. A great question. This would be an opportunity for Palau to display how Palau and Taiwan worked in the last 30 years. And so we wanted to have our guests, when they come to PIF, to physically see that and see how Taiwan can help other countries to be successful as what Palau is doing with Taiwan. And we continue to fight that Taiwan have its dialogue within the PIF itself. Yeah, and so as a host of PIF, we're hoping that that can be established and minimize any disruption. Yeah, and the importance of the relationship and what Taiwan's capability is.
Last year, the president of Palau suggested Taiwan and Palau conduct monthly joint Coast Guard patrols to enhance deterrence. Why is this important to Palau?
It's important for Palau, but because of, one of the issues that we're facing is safeguarding our maritime. And our natural resources, being an island, sometimes it's scarce. And our biggest natural resource is our water. So that itself needs to be safeguarded. And to have that joint responsibility with others, or at least the activity with others, help Palau with some of the costs of doing that.
Tuvalu's ambassador also shared with us how Taiwan is helping her country face multiple challenges.
Tuvalu is at the front line of this so-called climate change and sea level rising issues. And in terms of our strategies, how to address those, we tend to put more of our focus on strategizing, how to slow down, mitigate the negative impact of climate change and sea level rise. And Taiwan has always been one of our major support in those areas in terms of land reclamation, strengthening our food security systems.
Taiwan and the U.S. have announced they're collaborating to help the Marshall Islands rebuild its parliament building after a fire. How is this going?
It's progressing well. There is a deadline. The hope is to get the building up and ready for the parliament session in August. As we all know, it's not just a building, it is the symbol of our democracy. It is the home of our democracy. But I think the partnership between the Marshall Islands, Taiwan, and the United States also speaks volume to what happens when partners work together and the tangible results that can come of it.
Is there any other sorts of trilateral cooperation between the U.S., Taiwan, and the Marshall Islands?
Yes, there's been, in the areas of education, health, infrastructure, climate resilience, the United States and Taiwan have supported the Marshall Islands on a complementary basis. And so recently, as a matter of priority, the Marshall Islands had needed to look at procuring additional aircrafts because the aircraft that was servicing the domestic air service, providing domestic air service, were old and running down and hindering our ability to continue to provide services and deliver to the other islands or the neighboring islands. And so through a similar partnership, the United States and Taiwan worked together to support that initiative. And that's the planes last week have arrived.
And Foreign Minister Lin Jialong, he went to the Marshall Islands earlier this year. He led an economic and trade delegation. So I'm wondering, in what key areas is Taiwan expanding investment in the Marshall Islands?
Areas that we prioritize and we are hoping to seek partnership and investment from Taiwan in is our fisheries, to enhance our capabilities, our capacities to realize more from the fisheries industry. For example, fish that is caught in the Pacific waters is transshipped through the Marshall Islands. And currently this is done in the high seas. And one of our goals is to enhance the capacities and capabilities, build up our infrastructure so that we may be able to get the transshipment activities to happen on shore in the Marshall Islands, and that will in turn create jobs. Marshall Islands is also very keen on looking at connectivity from Taiwan to the Marshall Islands or through the region. Unlike Palau, there are no direct connections from Taiwan to the Marshall Islands or other countries in the region. And we are hoping that we can, airline connectivity, there can be direct airline services between the Marshall Islands and Taiwan and maybe the region. One of the challenges to economic development is our isolation and the lack of connectivity. Right now there is only one airline that services the Marshall Islands from the U.S. borders, and that is, when there's only one company or airline that services the country, there's monopoly. And when the monopoly, high costs. And so that is a challenge, and for the Marshall Islands, it is a hindrance, not just for trade and investment and people to people, but that connectivity is vital because we continue to refer patients off-island. Off-island referral is still something that we require to ensure that our people can get the life-saving treatment that they need.
So another important question is, I guess, what does Palau bring to Taiwan?
Palau is a member of the United Nations. And at the United Nations, it doesn't matter how big you are or small you are. Your one vote at the United Nations is as powerful as other powerful countries in the world. And so we use that agenda to promote Taiwan. We have no objection of telling the rest of the world who are not friends with Taiwan to look at Taiwan as a serious partner and establish a diplomatic relation with Taiwan.
And how does the Marshall Islands assist Taiwan?
We have a leadership position in the international arena, and we use that voice to speak out loudly for Taiwan because we are of the strong belief that all stakeholders need to be to participate to address global challenges. Like at the COP, the Taiwan needs to come to the table as well.
Thank you, ambassadors, for joining us. It was great to hear your insights.
It's a pleasure to talk to you this morning.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great to talk to you this morning.
This was Zoom In, Zoom Out. We hope you enjoyed this interview. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.